Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our new, beautiful auditorium. This will be the first test run for a couple of things. First off, I hope you enjoyed the pre-orientation music and video celebration that we prepared for you. My name is Troy Anderson. I am the high school principal. In the back there, my cinematographer, many of you will recognize Mr. Arela. Mr. Arela. I didn't even get any applause, Dave. Look at this. He comes down.
I've been around a lot longer.
He's here for 2 months and he gets applause. So yes, we're very fortunate this fall that Mr. Errol is going to be with us. Miss Landgraf had a baby about a week ago, so she will be on maternity leave for the first couple of months of school, and Mr. Errol will be here for the first couple of months while she is gone. So we welcome him, and we're very fortunate that he has a chance to be here. Some of you he knows a little bit better than others from the elementary, I would imagine, too. So again, welcome. Very excited about this opportunity to meet with you in this great space. Again, thank you very much for the support. Without this support that we have from you, we would not be sitting in this auditorium today. So I feel very fortunate to be in here and talking to you today. But the point of the matter is I'm only going to keep you here for about the next hour and a half, unless you have questions. Geez, my comedy routine needs help. I'm thinking more like 15 minutes, and then maybe 5-10. There. Okay, so the purpose of today's orientation is to talk up to you about some of the changes that will take place for you as ninth graders and as ninth grade families. So, we want to get the point across that ninth grade is different, and it is more important, starting right now in the beginning of ninth grade, and I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why. First off, this is an awesome school. We have many opportunities for you as a school our size. One of the things that I talk to the kids about when I go into the classrooms is the opportunities that you have for activities, academics, after school extracurriculars. But we really do. We've got 18 varsity sports that you can choose from. For a school at our size, that is something that's not very common. So you do have many different opportunities to take part in academics, arts, activities, actions, and then we're going to end it with a little bit of advice from previous ninth graders. Academics piece of it is that I want to mention this right away because when you become juniors and seniors, parents, you'll want to listen close because we've got college in the schools options that are available to you in-house, taking classes for free that you get high school credit and college credit while sitting in classes at Pine City. But the only way that you can qualify to take these classes is if you are a junior, you need to be in the top third of your class GPA rank to be able to qualify to take these classes that are free that you earn college credit. And then as a senior, you need to be in the top half of the class. So it does get a little bit more liberal your senior year, but it does start with your GPA starting on Tuesday, the work that you put into it. So parents, if you really want them to take those college credits for free before they move on to post-secondary, they need to start right away with their studies to keep their GPA up. Top third of the class as juniors, top half as seniors. A couple of other things that we have for options as you see here. We've got 3 world languages. You are all taking part in our one-to-one technology program. You have the ability of the iPad 24/7 during the school year. And at the end of the year, we have a banquet that celebrates our academic letter winners. Those are some of the reasons to study hard. And for those of you that like statistics, the next couple of slides are for you. This graph shows by level of education the median income by no degree all the way up to professional degree, including a master's. And you can see that the graph definitely shows that the more educated you are, the better likelihood that you are going to earn a greater salary once you get done with your schooling. I also like to think of education as freedom. Education gives you the opportunity to do more things if you have that bat to fall back on. Not only does it give you monetary options, it also gives you some more options as far as freedom to change jobs, to do different things in your career. And it does start with the high school degree. Also, kind of a sliding graph on this one. This is the unemployment rate for less than a high school diploma. Notice the median income, and then also the unemployment rate. All the way up to the doctoral degree and professional degree, the graphs go the opposite way. There's going to be a greater chance that you're going to be employed, and also a greater chance that you're going to earn a greater salary with the more education that you have. So what are the graduation requirements that you need to have when you finish up 4 years from now? The first thing I like to point out is that there's 22.5 credits that are required. Now, if you take the 7 classes that you can take during the school day times 4 years, you have the opportunity to earn 28 credits. So 22.5 does give you a little bit of leeway if you struggle in a class, if you have to retake a class, if you want to take a study hall or two during your time. So there is the ability to have things a little bit less strict in your schedule. The maximum that you can earn is 28. The required is 22.5. Other requirements to graduate. Minnesota exams, we expect that you give your best faith effort on those exams when you have the chance to take them. The graduation requirements seem to change all the time. And so the tests that you're taking starting in 10th grade are required participation for graduation. You'll hear more about that, students, when I come into your classrooms next week. The attendance policy changes a little bit for you as well. Credits or classes that for you in 7th and 8th grade were quarter classes. You had to have 6 or less per quarter to keep your grade as a 7th or 8th grader. As a 9th grader, most of your classes are semester long. There's about 85 days per semester per class that you're in a class. We do give you the ability to miss up to 12 in the non-authorized absence category. Now, you're out there thinking, well, how can I hold a job if I'm gone 12 out of 85 days? That's 18% of the days being absent. Any of you that hold a job, you know that you can't be gone 1 in 5 days and try to keep a job. But we know that things come up, so you're allowed to have up to 12 per semester to keep that half a credit for the semester credit. After that, if you do exceed it, there are some exceptions. You'd have to make up the time. But the maximum number per semester is 12 out of about that 85 days. Some of the classes like health, Phy-Ed that meet every other day, could be that you have, it's considered a quarter class. Again, there you're allowed to miss up to 6 per quarter. Okay, some of these are going to be familiar faces to you. Some of them have been 7th and 8th grade teachers. There's a couple of new teachers that don't have their pictures up there. Miss Lynch and Mr. Walter, a couple of new math teachers. But these are your core teachers. Miss Voorhees, Phy-Ed, Miss Dennis, math, Miss Burgoyne, math, Mr. Schlichting, industrial tech, Mr. Wichter, social studies, Miss Anderson, English language arts, Mr. Ostertag, Phy-Ed, Miss Linsmeyer, math, Miss Klein, math, and Mr. Huddle, who I believe slipped in the audience here just a minute ago. All you have to do is wave and you get applause in this crowd. Okay, so some elective options. You know, most of you have picked the classes that you're going to have for the year, but in case you have some other ideas, there's opportunities to change your schedule if things come up and you find something else that you want to be involved in. But you can see that we have the foreign language, we've got the FACS classes, the IT, the art classes, computer and business type of classes, the fitness, the Phy-Ed. Got some reading opportunities, and then of course the fine arts, the band, and the choirs. In the arts, we consider ourselves an arts community, or else we probably wouldn't have this wonderful facility. But we've got the visual arts. This is the group that went over and took part in a contest with all of their projects. The vocal music, the choirs, the instrumental music, which is our bands, and the Nobel Conference, which is actually it's a science conference that, again, you have to qualify and you have to apply for, but they go down to Gustavus Adolphus College in Mankato every year during October, and they take a couple of days off of school, stay in a hotel, and they have a good time learning about different things in science. And the Dorian Conference, which is also part of the choral program. So there are some opportunities to go off of campus too, if you qualify for these things. In the activities, Mr. Christensen down here on the bottom, he's one of our FIAD teachers as well as our activities coordinator. As I mentioned, we do have 18 varsity sports, which is a very high number, so there's many opportunities for you to participate. We do have NHS, the National Honor Society. Again, that's a GPA-based thing. We do have student council. Our student council advisors are our new teacher, Ms. Hong. She is a Pine City graduate. And also Ms. Sauser, they're helping out with student council this year. Our Friends of Rachel Club, our 4 Club. And then the speech and drama, which is an active part of our school as well. So many different opportunities, and again, I encourage you to take part in those things as much as you can. Academics and athletics do mesh at Pine City Schools so that we expect that you hold a GPA of 2.0 or better. The first time that that happens over a quarter, that you don't earn that 2.0, you're put on academic probation. That doesn't mean that you can't participate, but that means that you have to make some improvement. So after that, during the probationary period, if you pick things up, you're back on good standing. But if things don't improve, you could be put on suspension. So anytime that you're put on suspension, you're not allowed to participate in the games or the activities like the speech meet if you're on an academic suspension. Now, it doesn't mean that you're forever on suspension. There's contracts, there's ways to get out of those. But the point of the matter is that we do hold academics to a high standard, so we expect that the schooling takes place before the activities happen. We're going to talk a little bit, the next few slides, about behavior, options, and advice. First off, just want to take a look here at the statistics that we have. These are all of the behavior incidents from 2010 to 2014 last year. This includes detention, office referrals, bus slips, morning detention, after school detention, for all of the kids, for all of the year, for the whole school. So you can see that we were at a pretty big number. We did decrease for a few years, went up a little bit, but then last year we had the lowest number of discipline referrals. And I can tell you that the difference of 300 and some referrals not coming through the office, not coming into the secretary's hands, really was a big difference last year. The atmosphere, the number of kids being sent out of class was dramatically down. And so I thank the kids very much for that point, except for this next slide, 8th graders. This usually doesn't happen. And hopefully this isn't too many, because usually what happens is that we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Usually the 7th graders are the ones that have the highest number of discipline referrals. This was not the case for the 8th graders last year. We're going to make a change in that. Correct, Mr. Arola?
Correct.
Absolutely. We're going to try to get this back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for next year. That's my challenge. But again, I go back to we did have a good year overall. We just got to make some changes as we get into 9th grade. Cell phones. We have a pretty liberal cell phone electronic device policy, or else we wouldn't be allowing all of the iPads, the Chromebooks, everything that you see around school, the digital devices to happen. So, in between classes, before and after school, A-OK. During lunch, if you're using them appropriately, no problem. Once you step foot inside of the teacher's classroom, that is at their discretion. Okay? So, the first time that you have your device taken away, it is a warning, and it's given back to the student at the end of the day. For everyone after that, 2 through infinity, if they have them taken away, they can earn, the second one is the parent picks it up. The third one and thereafter, there's also the parent picking it up and also some time spent in the in-school suspension room. So, again, we have a liberal policy, but inside of the classroom, that's at teacher discretion. We've been pretty fortunate, last year especially, because we had a really cool spring. The temperatures were really good, so there wasn't a whole lot of skin that was shown. And that made for a good dress and etiquette portion of the handbook that we have. But we're expected to be held to a community standard that the school board establishes for us. So all of those regulations for length of skirt, how much skin can be shown, what kind of things can be worn on t-shirts, and et cetera, et cetera. They're all in the handbook if you want to take a look at those. The handbook's online. Kids will have them loaded on their iPads as well. So some advice that some students gave prior ninth graders to you coming into this year. These are quotes from 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. Like I stated in that first couple of slides, that you need to take these challenging courses because they really do make an impact right now, especially in that GPA and on your transcript. Now, they do look at grades below senior and junior for that cumulative GPA, also for entrance into post-secondary schools, 2-year colleges, and 3-year and 4-year colleges. So it really does start on Tuesday next week, the effort that you put into this. But they say take challenging courses, get prepared for college. Grades are important. Colleges look at your 9th grade year. Manage your time and use your study halls. And we're all here to help, so don't be afraid to ask for help. We all consider ourselves mentors in the building, so we will help you with anything that you need. From schoolwork to advice to anything that you need. All you gotta do is ask for help and you'll get the help if you need it. Socially, some of the things that they say to you, some of the older kids. Don't pretend to be someone that you're not. Be yourself. Participate in activities and get involved. Reach out of your comfort zone, and the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Some of the people that you might need to see from time to time are guidance counselor Ms. Johnson, school social worker Mr. Jackson, Coral Hasselbauer, our school resource officer, and Ms. Chin, our school psychologist. They all work up in the guidance office. Again, they're all here to help, not just the kids, but also the families that are involved in our communities. And please, we encourage you to make good choices involving alcohol and drugs, picking the right friends, the peer group that's going to make good choices. Get involved in the school activities if you can. Make good use of your free time. And again, we're stressing that you do your best on your schoolwork. Here again is just some more support options for you. If you're struggling in school, mentally, socially, academically, we do have study skills courses that are available to 9th graders. We do have our Friends of Rachel Club, that's our 4 club. We do have the ability for peer tutoring. Sometimes we sign up kids one-on-one to work with peer tutors that might be older or same grade peers. Our Check and Connect program, at the beginning of the year we call it a Focus 15. 15% of our students are focused on with a greater impact by our staff, and they do things called Check and Connect. They stop in and check in with kids to see how they're doing, checking their grades, making sure that they're staying caught up. Summer school is over at the ALC. If you do have something that you slip up in a class, we give you the option during summer school to make it up. We do have an awesome conflict managers program. Our peer conflict managers have had success 100% of the time for the last 2 years that I've had in the high school here, settling peer conflicts. And we do have a chemical health assessment team if you run into issues with drugs or alcohol. For parents, if you haven't signed up for SchoolView, please stop down in the Media Center. That's our online portal to everything about your son or daughter. You can get up-to-date grades. We expect that our teachers post their grades weekly on Thursday. So if you're wondering how up-to-date is the grade, are the grades posted, is this accurate? And they come back and they say, no, this wasn't updated. Our expectation is that teachers update that on Thursday before they leave work. Conferences this year are going to be a little bit different. As you can see, we have added a spring conference date. We haven't had a spring conference date for a long time. But a little bit different on these, the first one on November 11th and on March 3rd, we are going to be starting to do stadium conferences. One of the things that I noticed my first couple of years here is that parents would come in and we've got a great, compact, efficient building. But it's very difficult to see when there's a teacher available for conferences. You might run to Mr. Wichter's room and he's got 4 or 5 parents in front of him. You might run up to Mr. Huddle's room and he's got 3 or 4 parents in front of him. And parents were getting frustrated because they couldn't see who was available and it was very inefficient. Those first day of conferences in the fall and the spring will be stadium conferences where the teachers will be in the commons area where you'll be able to see everybody in the multi next to the gym. The 7th grade teachers will still be in the 7th grade house, but you'll be able to walk in, see who's available, meet the teachers, and do it efficiently in a better way than you have in the past. The second 2 days are going to be classroom conferences. So if you want to have a private conversation, you're not worried about if somebody's going to hear something going on, we'll have you come in for a private conference during that time. But you'll see that it'll be a good thing for parents and for students because it'll be a better use of your time and it'll reduce the frustrations of seeing a teacher. So the communication. The email has been a very efficient way. All of our teachers have websites with their contact information listed. A quick email to them. They may not answer it right away, but typically they answer it within 24 hours. Of course, there's the phone, and still the best way to communicate is to stop in and talk to them face to face. Our teachers are available, but not only our teachers, but our counselors, our administration. Give us a call. We'll support you and try to figure things out for you. That's about all I have. That is my first run at the 9th grade orientation. Usually Miss Landgraf is up here talking to you guys. That's her. You'll see her again in November. I'm sure you'll see beautiful pictures of her new baby with the Green Bay Packers hat on.
Ooh.
But that's me. I seem to get a little less hair every year. And Mr. Erla, like I said, will be here for the first couple of months of school to support you in any way that we can. At this time, I would like to take any questions that you might have of something that I may have not covered very well. Just raise your hand or shout it out if you have anything that you want to ask me. Wow, I'm really good, I guess. No, if you have questions or comments that you don't want to shout out to the audience, drop me an email, stop me after the presentation, and I'll help you out as best I can. Thank you, and welcome. We'll have a great year. Great day to you guys.